My daughter came home silent after music class, and I learned the school hid the truth. My daughter's school counselor called me during lunch and said I needed to come right away. Her voice was shaking. She said Lily was refusing to speak to anyone. My Lily was 7 and never stopped talking, so hearing that made my stomach drop. I left everything, grabbed my keys, and drove to the school with my hands shaking on the wheel. The halls felt wrong when I got there. Too quiet. Children's drawings covered the walls, but all I could hear was my own footsteps. Lily's butterfly picture was still hanging on the star student board. Then I saw her in the counselor's office, curled into a chair so tightly it looked like she was trying to disappear. I knelt beside her and said her name. When I touched her shoulder, she flinched so hard I pulled my hand back. Her yellow dress was wrinkled and dirty at the hem. The glittery butterfly clip I'd put in her hair that morning was gone. She wouldn't look at me. She wouldn't look at anyone. I turned to the counselor and principal and asked what happened. The counselor looked sick. The principal kept fixing his tie and talking in that calm school voice people use when they want you quiet before they tell you nothing. He said maybe something happened with friends. He would not meet my eyes. I took Lily home because I was not leaving her there another minute. She didn't speak in the car. She didn't touch dinner. At bedtime, she sat on her bed clutching her stuffed rabbit. When I helped her into pajamas, I saw dark bruises around both wrists, deep and round, like something had been tied there. My whole body went cold. I sat on the floor and asked who did that. At first, she just stared past me. Then her mouth shook. In a tiny voice, she said, "Mr. Roberts said it was our secret game. He said if I told, something bad would happen to you and Dad." For a second, I couldn't breathe. Mr. Roberts was the music teacher every parent praised. I called the police that night. The next morning, a child psychologist helped interview Lily. It took time, but piece by piece, she said Mr. Roberts would pick certain kids for special music lessons during lunch. Then he would take them to a supply closet, tie their wrists with zip ties, and scare them into staying quiet. Lily was not the only child. By afternoon, the police were at the school. Then the principal called me. His voice sounded flat. They had found videos on Mr. Roberts' school computer. There were many children in them. The files went back years. I asked him how that was possible inside an elementary school full of adults. He started saying they didn't know, and I cut him off. It was his job to know. That was when he admitted parents had complained before, more than once. One child came home terrified of music class. Another parent reported behavior that felt wrong. Nothing changed. When I asked why, he said there wasn't enough evidence. Then more came out. The superintendent had pushed to keep it quiet because they did not want to ruin a respected teacher's career. Later, we found out he and Mr. Roberts knew each other outside school. While they protected his name, children were being sent back into that building again and again. Once the news spread, other parents started connecting things they had brushed off before because the school told them not to overreact. Bedwetting, panic at drop-off, nightmares, sudden fear of certain classes. One mother realized why her daughter had come home from school and cut off her own hair after one of those special lessons. The district called a school board meeting, and the room was packed. Chairs scraped the floor. Parents lined the walls. At least 17 families were there with the same stunned look. The superintendent tried to read a statement. Parents shouted over him. Then district records were handed to the board, and the whole room went quiet. Mr. Roberts had been accused in another district before he ever came to our school. He wasn't cleared. He was moved. The paperwork showed complaints, interviews, and a quiet transfer dressed up as a routine decision. They had taken a man children feared, packed up his file, and sent him somewhere new where no parent knew his name. When officers led him out in handcuffs that night, no one spoke at first. We just watched. Then someone behind me made this broken sound. Parents started crying. A chair hit the floor, and I stood there shaking, knowing the adults who were supposed to protect our kids had known enough to stop him and chose not to. Now some parents are saying I went too far. Was I wrong for speaking up?